is, oops, a is a partner organization with Keep Writing Beautiful event. And then Saturday, May 11th, Public Works is, along with Keep Writing Beautiful, hosting a City Park Workday where we will be installing our first City Park pollinator garden, which will be centered around the flagpole at 11th and Perkiomen. So right across the street from Bill's house.
No, not really.
Well, kind of. And then we'll leave it with that for right now. There's a couple of smaller things coming up as well. I'm just looking at calendar dates.
What was the May?
Oh, and then I'm sorry. And then dumpster day will be Saturday, May 18th.
What was the May 11th pollinator time, Bethany?
That is going to be, I believe, 9 until noon.
Okay.
And I need to make the flyer for that this week.
That's really exciting. That's so cool.
It is. 2 of our Keep Writing Beautiful members are going through a pollinator certification. So that way Keep Writing Beautiful can hold that certification as an organization.
Nice.
So that's what I have for events.
Do you have the locations, Bethany, for dumpster day?
I do not have the locations yet. I will make sure that Ryan gets those to me so I can get those over to you.
Bethany, before we leave events, I don't know where you mentioned this, if you sent out a text. I have in my calendar tomorrow at 2 o'clock, PSU Solar with your name.
Yes. So tomorrow at 2 o'clock, one of the classes that I've been working with at Penn State, they do solar PV designs, and they are presenting their design. They took a look at the Public Works campus, the main Public Works campus. And so they're going to be presenting their findings to us tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
And that's you sent out a Zoom invite, I think.
Yeah, I'll be via Zoom.
How long do you expect that to last, Mom?
45 minutes, depends on how chatty we get. Their presentation is about 15 minutes. I did get a preview and the numbers are good. So that's exciting news.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anybody who would like to attend that doesn't have the invite for it, please let me know and I will send that over to you.
Before we open it to Scott, do you have any other updates on anything else?
The other update that I have is we applied for and are receiving technical assistance from DEP for food waste diversion in our residential waste stream.
That's so exciting.
And so they're going to be helping us work out some of the logistics to implement either drop off or curbside composting.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. A couple actually mentioned that at the Earth Day table for the EAC.
Yeah. So
they're doing
we are, yeah, and we're also looking to include our food producing small businesses in that program as well.
That is really, really great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bethany, for working on that initiative. That's so exciting. Scott, do you have updates?
I don't really have a lot of updates, and mostly what we've been doing lately has just been cleaning catch basins. So if any of you see any catch basins in your travels that seem like they need some assistance, just reach out to me and let me know. I know there's a lot of them now with, from the leaves and debris, and also a lot of trash, because people don't know where to put their trash. So I've been trying to have a truck out every day. But then we've got some other work coming up too that we need to get done, like a new building. We need to look at a storm system there that has some issues. Yeah, that's mostly what we've been doing from our side. Plus, we don't have a big crew, so we have a lot of sanitary issues going on right now. We did do a stormwater walk in a North 2nd Street that was about 42 inches high. That wasn't very fun. Our guys did not like that. Definitely, but there's not a really good way to clean it, and we did find some damage there. So it's something we have to excavate and repair. But also, we need to find where it was. It started as a complaint of a sidewalk undermining, but the sidewalk undermining was actually from the homeowner's stormwater lateral that was damaged. So, and then we found this other issue that we're going to repair probably this week, the end of this week or next week. But that's about all.
Gotcha. Thanks, Scott. Thank you for all your hard work and keeping our city draining as it should be. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I can only imagine. I've been much more cognizant of all the storm drains, especially I have a big one right out front of my house. I'm always like, what would Scott say? Does this need help? So thank you. I guess we can move on to old business. There's no other staff members here, but I will say Ryan Bradley said that so much trash was picked up on Saturday and he was really, really proud.
Yeah.
During the cleanup. So that's really cool. So under old business, our first thing is the signage and mapping. It seems like everything's going really well with that for our green infrastructure mapping or green infrastructure signs with Dean.
Yeah.
Kathy sent over our edits. Thank you to everybody for attending and giving edits, and Shelly for organizing them and being so patient. I can never thank you enough.
I have to apologize. I missed that meeting. I ended up being swamped with meetings. and
Totally
so I had to miss it. And I didn't even get a chance to do edits. And oh my God, I haven't even looked at it yet. I'm looking for it right now. So
yeah.
like we don't have another chance at any more edits, do we?
No, and that's why we were so like
Yeah.
curious and took
I felt so bad about that
hour.
because that's my expertise. But
I wouldn't worry
God.
too much, and a lot of it was like just wording for the general public. Using storm drain instead of sewer drain because we're not in Philadelphia with the combined sewer system like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I glanced over it and it looks like you guys did a good job, but I was like, I really need to look at this. And I just did not have time. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And until it actually goes into production, I mean, if you find something that's so outrageously wrong, I think you should convey
Well,
it.
yeah,
I don't think that's gonna
that's
happen.
my concern. Like, we'll put some misinformation out there, like in case. So I will look over it, but hopefully, like it looked, on first glance, it looked pretty good. But
Yeah, and I think if there's, I mean, and I'm guilty of this too. If there's ways to say it better, we just have to let it go at some point.
right, but if it's
just
just
good and
wrong,
it'll just have to be
then
later.
maybe we can tweak it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I felt so bad.
Does Bethany or Shelly, do you know any more about timeline with Dean?
We would like to have the final verbiage done. No late, we want to be ready to start by May 1st. So if any, it is now or never on the edits.
All right, I will look over it, and if I see anything glaring, I will mention it.
All right, awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is there anything about mapping, Bethany, that you wanted to update the group about?
Yeah, so the mapping project, the Water Center at UPenn felt that it would be better to take it away from the technical assistants and give it over to, and I'm looking for the email right now. Over to their sister organization. And they are looking for, here it is. Hang on 1 second, sorry about this. That it's going to fit better with the University of Maryland's environmental finance center stormwater work. So right now they're looking for a graduate student for us to work with.
Cool. Very cool.
So hopefully we'll be paired this summer.
Okay.
But in the meanwhile, we can still work on gathering all the things that we're going to want to hand over. Scott and I did have the idea of getting some of, especially our older ones that are the hand-built brick ones that we can actually stand in and get some photographs of, working with Noel to get some video and such of those. So that way we can say, this is what they look like at undisclosed location.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting, Bethany.
Because some of them are really interestingly built. But to help understand the scale of them until you're actually in them, it's kind of hard to imagine. So we do want to maybe share a little bit of that. Go ahead, Scott.
We had some challenges where we could have used somebody very small, like the one that we were just in was only 42 inches high. So
Wow.
I don't have any employees that are 42 inches tall. So they were basically hunched over crawling, and they had to crawl over 300 feet to find the spot that was supposedly the damage, but that wasn't damaged. So
My goodness.
they were not very happy about that.
No.
And plus all the safety we need to do that, it's very time consuming and takes a lot of manpower.
Yeah. And yeah, we frown on putting children into storm drains.
So I missed part of that. Like, did you run a camera up? Isn't the camera sufficient or?
So the problem with this particular storm line, it was so small, but there was a lot of debris in it. So our camera couldn't get through. We actually cameraed the 60-inch line, and these were both all hand laid stones. So the stones are actually cut on like a triangle to hold it all together. And the whole design of it is like a teardrop. The smallest section of the storm line is on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
So it goes to a point at the bottom and then goes up in like a loop. So like a
Okay.
So it's like an upside down raindrop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what a great design.
It's a beautiful design.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So like I know those cameras are in some kind of wheels or something. Is there any like drone kind of cameras you can send in places like that?
We wouldn't be able to fly.
Yeah.
No.
We have enough problems with the wheels, and we have different size wheels for different applications. But when there's debris in the way, or there's just a lot of stuff in the way, it's not.
You'd lose your drone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've actually,
Okay.
I guess there was a company that actually had a robot drone that went through, like a drone that went through, and it's lost somewhere in our system. When they did
it's really easy to lose contact with them.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Just because if you're up on the surface, and imagine, some of these storm lines are, 20, 30 feet deep. and then there's stone, so it's really hard to get a signal through.
Wow.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that, but
just
yeah.
for instance, at Second and Greenwich Street, the storm line, it's a 60-inch storm line, so it is walkable.
Yes.
It's about 11 feet to the invert,
Good, how are
which
you?
is basically the floor. At Second
Okay, that
and
sounds
Elm
great.
Street, which is basically 2 blocks away, it's 60
All right,
feet
you'll
deep.
have to talk to Scott. Well, you can call me, but I'll.
And yet, if you look across, it doesn't look like that much of a slope.
Next Tuesday, but I'll still have my phone on me.
If you look across the railroad tracks from Greenwich to Elm.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Wow.
Just wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
It's a lot to wrap our brains around.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
just don't
so-
think of all the glitches you can run into.
Mhm.
So like what you see on paper, it looks nice and perfect and it's straight and yeah. Until you actually go open the manhole and then you look down and my crane's not gonna reach there.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's good. That's educational for us all. So thank you. I am excited to hear more about the EFC, Bethany. So that's really cool that they're going to get connected with them.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Green America Cleanup and Earth Day, which we discussed. But if there's anything else you wanted to add before we continue.
Many thanks to Sarah and Kathy and Stephen for working with Luisa from Barrio Alegrio, and then getting all of the comments. So I told Bill, I mean, like, we have hundreds of comments to log.
Yeah.
And she was great about getting them in Spanish too.
That was really cool.
Yeah. So all of those. So if anybody would like to help with that, anybody has a couple of hours free, wants to help me log comments, I will not say no to that.
She really did a great job. I was there from the beginning until about 2:30, 2:45. Did Jim ever show up?
I did not see Jim.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't
because I
think
know
picture people saw.
Kathy was waiting for him to
Mhm.
go. But anyway, but yeah, Kathy and I helped clean up the around the basketball court. There was a lot of dead leaves and compost that basically build up against the curb. So we spent practically the whole time down there sort of getting all that stuff up. We're hoping that Public Works can, and I guess Ryan did say that at some point they'll power wash and spray it down and everything. And there's some people from the Conservation Corps that go, but it needed to get done. So, but that was good though. We were hopeful for a shovel, but they were all taken up by the tree planting apparently. So, but no, but it was a good day. It was good. There was and Lisa, like I said, she did a great job and she redirected everyone. And then Kathy actually, we had so many comments that we had to take clipboards
Saw that, yeah.
and move the comments off because then there wouldn't have been room for people to put comments on. So it was crazy.
I have 4 of these.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
So were you
It's
able to
stacked.
clear off the other boards, Bethany? Because I started to try and then the wind, so I just left them on the boards at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So what I for future reference, what I'll do is before we leave or before I pull sticky notes off when we're getting a lot of comments, I photograph it first.
Oh, okay.
And then I don't have to worry about losing a comment. And then I can just work off the picture and then put them in.
Yeah, all right, that's good. Yeah, I just started to take it and then stick it to the clipboard and then the wind would blow and I was chasing all these Post-its. So I was like, I'm just gonna smush them all together.
Oh.
And Bethany could
Still
do it
wasn't as bad as
exactly.
last year though. Even
I
though it picked
know.
up. But
Honestly.
no, but we were getting a lot of good feedback and a lot of good discussion from people about stuff. Of course, things come up about the trash, that's what they want to see. more trees, that sort of thing. But a lot of good comments and feedback. Even people that really didn't live in the city were even making comments because they lived in the city at one point or another. So they still had something to say. Which is good though, because I mean, we look at it as, greater Reading versus just Reading, but it was a good amount of people came through. And yeah, it was a fun day. I was tired by the end of that day though. I ain't gonna lie. That was beat.
Sure. Thank you so
And my
much.
legs are still achy.
Bethany, I can't even imagine. We
I
took
said that-
shifts. You were there the whole day.
I said to her on Saturday, I go, you're gonna get sick of somebody saying your name. I was like, where's Bethany? Where's Bethany? Bethany, Bethany. Like, oh my God.
It's
Like,
true.
I couldn't imagine.
Um,
Anyway, like I said, it was a good day.
yeah, Public Works did 13 hours that day.
Yeah, wow. Wow. I think for next year, because it does kind of peter out by 5 and we can clean up and stuff. Just like thinking about shifts, like I would have come a little bit earlier. So next year we can do that to have better overlap, Stephen, like you were saying, if we were waiting for somebody and stuff.
The time went by pretty quickly.
Yeah, okay.
I'll have to say that. But the only thing is that we thought that Jim was going to be there, and I had to go get my son. Kathy was a real trooper. She stuck around for a lot longer than she was probably wanting to do. But that was the unfortunate part about it, because like I went out to get something to eat, and then when I came back to the tent, I saw she was still standing there. So I said, to go get something to eat. So I waited around for longer so she could go get something. And then when she came back, that's when I left. So that's why.
Okay. I will say, yeah, people really did like our table. It was great. People stopped by and they liked the giveaways from what is it, Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful? And then the stickers and stuff that we had as Public Works.
Yeah.
One of my friends, this might be something we could do for fun for kids in the future, is one of my friends had this table where the kids made seed balls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
I
yeah.
think totally am, but with all the vendors, a lot of people were doing that. The seed
Oh,
balls,
they were
and
doing the
yeah.
seed
like
balls.
the
Okay,
pine cone bird feeders, like
okay.
I think.
Well, no, like this is for
Yeah.
planting, like little
Oh,
balls
yeah,
you
no,
can
like-
plant.
I think we had let's see, Voice Up Works did container gardens, like little bucket gardens.
Uh-huh.
And then 2 organizations were doing native wildflower seed bombs.
Mhm.
1800 did the pine cone.
Oh,
and
they're
peanut
called
butter.
seed bombs. Okay.
Yeah. Did this
All
the
right.
pine cone and peanut butter, bird feeders,
Yeah, I think
lots of different plants.
I like the simplicity of our table to really be able to talk with people and focus on the climate action plan.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing I wish I could have pulled out, but because we don't have an educator yet, is I was planning on bringing out the Enviroscape, but
Those
because,
are always good.
yeah,
Yeah.
but also we would have needed more people to manage that.
I've done the Enviroscape before. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Put little Jimmy Brown Jimmy sprinkles for the poo and
Yeah, all the pollution. Okay, well, hopefully we have an educator soon, and then maybe we can discuss for next year. But I really did think our table was really good and successful.
Oh, that's great.
So
I must proudly say that I have a son that was born on Earth Day.
That's so sweet.
And I saved the headline of the paper on Earth Day when he was born. So
That's cute.
yeah, it's kind of cool. It's like it had a big splashy headline because they were sort of bringing back the idea of Earth Day on when he was born. So yeah.
That's cool. So next on the agenda, we have the technical assistance. I think, Shelley, you can just probably delete this because it's been taken up by Bethany and it's kind of been merged with the whole signage mapping topic of infrastructure.
Yeah, so we can just kind of stick that in the project updates.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And then the annual report, I know Kathy was drafting that. I guess it's just a written report and the deadline is June, right? All right, so I'll connect with Kathy because it's crazy. It's about to be May. So I'll send her just a quick email to see. And then if I can support her any report to council. The EAC mixer. I don't know if anybody has updates about that.
The only updates I have, we haven't set a date yet. But I have talked to Patrick Cake from West Reading. And I can't remember her name from Robeson Township.
Okay.
They are interested, especially in partnering up on single-use plastic and styrofoam bans.
Oh, cool, okay. Use plastic, cool.
Yeah.
The public meetings for Berks Nature. I think I emailed you all the date I'm going to attend. It was July something. I thought I had it written down. But I really recommend that everybody attends one of Berks Nature's 50 community meetings that they're hosting for their 50th anniversary. I emailed Tammy and expressed our concern on behalf of the EAC about not having an in-person meeting in the actual city downtown. And Tammy wrote back and said that they are addressing that. They have heard feedback from the community saying that. And
Oh, not just us.
yeah, so
Oh,
she said there are meetings scheduled with particular groups that are not on the list because they aren't public. So they met with the library, they're meeting at the Hispanic Center. So they're a part of the 50 conversations, but are focused audiences. So it seems like they have been on people's agendas, like community organization agendas throughout the city. But if you have any groups in mind that they can visit, please share. She said we typically ask for 30 minutes on their agenda. So just noting that for everybody. And then the second one, she said we aren't the only ones that suggested at least one downtown location in addition to the nature place for the public meetings. So they're looking to schedule at least one or more for the summer. She was thinking Mi Casa Su Casa. If there are any other ideas, they are open to them. So, yes, Bill.
Well, yeah, so, yeah, since you're in communication with Tammy, I mean, I think Barrio, Barrio is now located at the WC Women's Center, WCR, WRC, on North Fifth Street. I think in our conversations on Anthony, I think they have space to have gatherings there and are open to it as far as I recall.
Okay.
I'd also suggest Tech Centro on
Okay.
South 6. They also
Yeah,
have the ability to host.
What
right.
did you say the last one, Bethany?
Tech Centro. So TEC Centro, it's at 6th and Laurel. So South 6.
Oh,
Yeah.
South 6th, that's what you said. I was like, what was the
Sorry.
second part?
Yeah, and it sounds like from conversations with Anthony that
Yeah, okay.
stuff is happening there. That's a good idea, actually. I don't even know, other than that you mentioning it and Anthony mentioning, I didn't know it was there, but he said it's a lot of energy, right? Something going on. Who is it? Is it a nonprofit or what is Tech Central?
Oh, yeah. So Tech Centro, they're part of the South of Bend Task Force.
Okay.
Okay.
But they are a workforce development organization. They work primarily, but not exclusively, with the Spanish-speaking community in Reading. And they are they're actually going to start offering a CDL training
Oh, cool.
which is something that we were hoping that we could get more people, make that available to more people. But they do, they partner up a lot with some of the RAC programs, and they're offering culinary. So they are, and medical training as well. They're also looking to expand into pre-apprentice training for construction trained trades.
Mhm.
And yeah, they're a really, really good asset for the neighborhood,
Awesome.
for the community.
So for Barrio and Tech Centro, are these two places that you think Berks Nature should get on their agenda or host a public meeting?
They could be there
Oh.
they could use the space to host their own meeting.
Okay.
So, and they
Okay.
do have, auditoriums, you can very comfortably do 50 people in the room. And they both have limited, but they do both offer off-street parking.
Awesome. Off-street parking.
Yeah, they could choose one or they could try to do both, maybe some overlap, but
Thank you.
so, we're still roughly 20% of the population of the county live in the city, so technically 20% of the meetings should be in the city. I mean, I'm being facetious.
Okay. I
But
got you.
I think Kathy expressed it really well last time. I mean, the perspective you take and the things you decide to pursue are going to be based on who you talk to. And if you talk to the same people, you're going to get the same. You're just going to basically confirm what you already think you know.
Right. The feedback loop, yeah.
So I think trying to communicate with additional organizations. I mean, I don't know. Did they reach out to the NAACP? That was a pretty opinionated group of people the other night. I mean that in the best possible way. They might have, they might hear something they don't usually hear. I don't want to
Right.
beat this, and I did not communicate directly with Tammy or Kim because I don't know. It's sort of like, oh, there's that broken record again. So I thought I'm glad other people did that. They heard from other places, and
Mm-hmm.
I think hearing from you would, is so anyway.
Yeah.
I'm glad they've responded and that they're going to pursue something. I think that's great, and that's kind of the way the process should work. So.
Yeah, thanks. Me too. Yeah. And if there's anything else, I'm happy to discuss with them on behalf of the EAC. So if anybody has anything additional, if you want to email me later, or if things come to you and you're like, this should really be brought up, feel free. I'm happy.
Thanks for following up on that. So
Mhm.
I think it was constructive.
I just found the meeting I'm going to. It's July 9th from 12 to 1. It's like a lunch hour one.
Well, I mean, you can convey, you don't have to use a name. You could say that one of the members of the EAC, maybe more, have not signed up. But now knowing that they're going to schedule some in the city,
Oh,
I will sign up for one of those once if they
That's
publish
good.
any of those.
okay. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I would go to Tech Center or to Barrio. Yeah, I'd kind of just decided, well, I mean, not to get personal. I didn't want to show up at a meeting and I don't know where, and again, be the lone voice saying, well, this is kind of what the city's perspective is.
Right.
Sounding like somebody was griping, and it's just uncomfortable. So
Fully understandable.
you might say, well, you might get some more attendance.
Yeah.
I don't know what Kathy's decided to do, but she probably would be more inclined to go if one of these happens somewhere like that.
Right.
And I would encourage, if there's one in the city, I'd probably encourage some other people I know to.
For sure.
Yeah, we would
Okay.
certainly share it out at Public Works.
Is it okay if I say that?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we share their stuff a lot anyway, but yeah, we'll certainly on our social media.
Okay, great. I will definitely tell her that so that we can make sure we know the dates that they update. Next is the EPA excise cleanup update. I don't know if anybody of us had that. No.
That's my damn problem.
Okay.
So we are fully, so it is, the planning is underway for the assessment. We are officially official. We're gonna be meeting, the EPA, let me back up. For Shelley, the EPA was present at Earth Day. A lot. And, so, and they have the ability to do, soil testing or lead soil testing in the field. They brought out their instrument to do that. We're planning on doing more of those, throughout the summer. And that is being offered to anybody, not just in the, Superfund area. Recognizing that we have lead contamination issues throughout the county. Also, we're trying to get a better idea of what the background baseline is. So we know. So between, lead paint, the lead, smelting, battery cracking, and then of course the lead from gasoline. We have multiple sources. So we're going to be setting up more events where that will be available to the
Awesome.
neighbors.
Great. Thank you, Bethany.
Yeah, it's great. It's great having them as our new best friends.
Yeah, it was a little weird to see like the announcement and like everybody was talking about it in my organization.
Yeah.
These DC people, they're like, and I'm like, oh wow, that's in my backyard.
Yeah. Right. No, I mean, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a multi-year practice, and project, but it's a good thing.
Thanks, Bethany. Next is our Goggle Works Rain Barrel Workshop. Scott, do you have any updates on that? I don't know if you talked to Tiana recently.
We do not really have any updates. I ran into some issues with some other stuff. I gotta work on my the PowerPoint and stuff like that. But there's no real update. I mean, after realizing some of the stuff that David Bean, I need to go back and do some more research on some of the stuff that he was talking about in the ordinance, which some of those ordinances were actually changed from, I think, when they did it before. So, oh, they weren't? Okay. Well, I guess it was talked about, but I haven't found it. Or it was, if there's an amendment or anything, but Shelley says no, so I still got some more research.
If you want me to send you those ordinances, if you can't find them, let me know.
Okay, that would help. Because digging through our ordinances is always fun.
Yeah.
Stuff's everywhere.
Scott, have you thought of a date?
Well, we were trying to push it too fast, and now we need to push it back, so I'm not ready. And the next month, I've got some medical stuff I need to take care of, so I'm gonna be.
So maybe we're thinking August or September.
I think we're gonna push it. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go that route.
Okay.
Because next month I'm gonna be a mess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't let me know, because I can help staff that event too, and then
Okay.
that way, if we get it on the calendars, it's more likely to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot's kind of happened in the past.
Yeah, I know.
Past couple weeks for me. So.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks for you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That sounds good. Thanks for your work on that, Scott, and I hope that everything goes okay next month with you and your medical stuff happening. I hope you're all right. Shelley, did you have something to add?
Not to this. I'm ready for the next topic when you move on.
Ready. Awesome. We're ready to move on to new business for the beekeeping zoning amendment. What's up?
So the policy committee meeting that was scheduled had to be delayed. So the zoning amendment is not yet complete. They were hoping to have the EAC review it today to pass it on to the next stage, but we're gonna have to delay that.
Okay. When is that new policy meeting happening? Did that get scheduled now?
It is Tuesday, the 30th at noon.
1:30. Okay. And then the outreach. Oh, is there anything else, Shelley, before we move on?
No.
Okay, thank you. The outreach and engagement intern? I'm taking that's Bill? Steven?
I'm assuming that it's on the agenda separate from the committee
Okay.
report because if we can make it happen, we'd like to get the EAC's ratification of something we've pretty much all approved already.
Mhm.
But so this is the intern that is just recently unofficially been engaged. She was at and a couple of people mentioned Luisa, who is connected with Barrio Alegría, and we've all met her. She came to a workshop training session on the climate action plan. I think the whole committee was there that time, and then she was spent, good bit, maybe all of Earth Day. Bethany said she showed up at 8:30 in the morning with Bethany and Stephen, I guess a couple others of you. So we've developed an agreement, a kind of a rough job description that I think Bethany is refining in terms of the contract. But to just simply put, we're engaging her to do outreach and engagement primarily, but not exclusively, although practically speaking, it will be almost exclusively Spanish-speaking residents of the city or other Spanish-speaking residents in the county, mostly in the city and south of Penn, through a variety of engagements. But the idea of her involvement as opposed to Jasmine, who's been fantastic, is that she's kind of a pair of feet on the ground. She's in the community. She's attending Earth Day. She'll be doing workshops. She's probably going to go door to door. She'll do online stuff, but she's going to be a presence, a live person in the community engaging on the climate action plan, but really environmental issues in general. And we'll be refining what that is. Anyway, the total package that's kind of being proposed by Barrio Alegría is 22,500, and this would basically start from now through roughly the same time next year. The money that we have 13,000 left in our budget. We had allocated 10,000 in our budget for interns, 5 of which has gone to Jasmine for her work through June from the beginning of the year. So there's 5,000 in the budget. And in my conversations with Bethany, she is working out that's what we could stay with that contribution as the EAC's part of it, and she's coming together some funds from Public Works that will cover the difference, and that's still being worked out whether all of that will come out of 2024 or whether in the fall we'll kind of figure out some portion that would be covered in the beginning of 2025, because she'll have a contract. I should say this is for a 1-year contract, 20 hours a week, or 15 hours a week.
Yeah.
15 hours a week at $20 an hour, it comes out to roughly that 22.5. That's roughly 15 as a salary. The other part of it is administrative and additional costs that Barrio will incur. Some of it is going to be cost to set up these workshops and things like that. But we've kind of gone through and it's all broken down. Bethany doesn't have it all completed yet, but she will be completed. But we did not want to wait until the May meeting to vote on this. There was 4 of us. Kathy's already on board as a member of the committee. I would like to propose that we say, yes, this is a go, so that we can continue moving ahead. Kind of anxious to get her engaged. And then when we go to the communications committee, I'll say something very quickly about what we're doing and what's happening next. Bethany, anything to add to that?
The way I'm writing it up is that it's a fellowship sponsorship agreement with Barrio between City of Reading Public Works and City of Reading Environmental Advisory Council for a 52-week contract that will basically run May to April. Up to 15 hours a week, 750, and not to exceed 750 hours, or $23,000. And then the cost split between the EAC and Public Works would be 25% and 75%. So 75% will come from PW, 25% will come from EAC, which roughly works out to, your budget, and our budget. And that the person will work with both of us. And then basically I'm just judging up things from Jasmine's contract and things from the agreement that, kind of our notes from between us and Anthony to put that together for approvals.
That all sounds really good.
I mean, we're all.
Yeah.
We just.
Yeah, I think she actually has a journalism background. So I think, she's pretty fearless. And also will have those really good communication skills that we're looking for.
I'm going to add this now. If I don't say it now, I'll say it during the, our communications committee report. So her English is limited. She's a Spanish speaking journalist. So part of what we've agreed to, that's not out of this budget, is that an interpreter will be involved. We'd like her to attend our meetings, the committee meetings, and for at least a half hour or something. So an interpreter, either someone identified by Badio or someone else, will be attending the meetings also to facilitate communication. So that's something that we're going to need to adjust to. I imagine she may attend 1 or 2 in the next year, EAC meetings. As Kathy suggested at our meeting, when we present to council, that she should be part of that presentation. She's kind of understanding the reality of the community and accepting that reality. And I think it's a leap of sorts. It might prove to be cumbersome here and there, but we're all in agreement that this made sense to give a try. And as I said, that's why most of her outreach is going to be to Spanish speakers, because that's her language and that's what she's really strong on. And reiterating what Bethany said, she's a journalist, and she asked at that presentation, the workshop that we did, she asked,
Really great question.
In spite of everything we did was in English, Anthony translated enough that she understood. I think she picked up a lot of what's going on. Speaking of
and also she fills a critical gap that we have here at Public Works, to be able to reach the Spanish speaking audience, or primarily Spanish speaking audience, but also a younger demographic. Yeah.
So, I think for all of that, everything that we've just said and other reasons, we just feel this could prove to be a really big, important, valuable step in this process. Getting back to the Berks Nature stuff, you might suggest if they're going to do stuff in the city, they might try to get an interpreter. And publicize that there will be an interpreter, so that if someone is uncomfortable with English, they won't be intimidated to not show up because then, they're uncomfortable speaking. So I mean, there's a lot more we could say, but I don't know if we have to belabor this.
So how do interpreters work in like a big public meeting? Like sign language is easy enough because it's silent, but how do interpreters work in public meetings?
Well, I've seen my daughter do it. It's called simultaneous translation, and Anthony has identified 1 or 2 people who do it, so that the person is pretty much speaking at the same time.
Do they have earphones on to hear?
That's one way. That's one way that it can be done.
Yeah.
Other ways that I've seen it done, and done here locally, is if we only have 1 or 2, a few Spanish speakers, we'll have them sit together with the translator, and so then the translator can be right next to them, kind of doing quiet translation in their ears.
Now, if in this case Luis is presenting to a group of only English speakers, then she might be talking in softer tones, and the person doing the translation or interpretation would be speaking to the audience. Let's say it's a room of only English. Let's say she comes to one of our meetings. None of us understand Spanish. So Luisa might, I don't know how the two of them will communicate, but she might be muted, communicating directly with the interpreter, and the interpreter would be just relating to us in English. You know, if you've seen UN events, how that works. I mean, and it's just remarkable how well it works. And I've been in some sessions, and you know, it flows. But logistically, it has to be worked out depending on the audience.
Do we have earphones that we can use for that purpose?
We do not own any, but Central Hispano does have the translation devices that can be
Okay.
utilized.
Yeah, we will think it through before we step into it.
I
You
know
know,
that. Sorry, go ahead, Bill.
I don't know how Kathy is visioning the presentation to council, but you know, I think the majority of council now speaks. I think it's a majority that speaks Spanish and understands Spanish. So, yeah, certainly.
I have seen it on Zoom. I don't know how it was done, but it was done really well, where there was an overlaid English translation for a Spanish speaking presenter. All on Zoom. So it's possible. And we can figure it out. I love that. I think it's amazing. There's nothing like communicating in a native language with another person who speaks that same native language. And I think the intimidation factor is really real.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, and technical information is, regardless of your first language, is always going to be preferred in that first language. So.
Right. So true. We can keep moving through the agenda. There's no PFAS update because David isn't here. He said he would update next meeting. But we can move into project updates. So I don't want to cut you off, Bill, but now it is your communications committee update time. So
we should have a vote if the
you need a vote.
Voting, we should vote on this,
Vote on what?
on going ahead and contract on approving the expenditure of the $5,000 that we already have allocated for engaging Luisa.
So can I make
Engaging Barrio Alegria.
Well, yeah, engaging
It's the
because
fellow.
yeah, she will be an employee of Barrio. This among us, we kind of decided this was a
Okay.
cleaner way to do it.
So you made a motion?
I have not. I'm good.
It sounds like you made a motion.
Well, I did. Yes, I did. I proposed. I guess that was a motion.
I'll second that motion.
So I think that sounds good with the whole group. Does everybody support this and approve that motion that we move forward using that $5,000 and partnering with Barrio and working with Luisa? Okay. Is anybody opposed?
Yep.
Wonderful. Unanimous support of that. Thank you so much, Bill and Bethany and Stephen and all the communication committee members working on that. That's really exciting. I think it's just phenomenal and needed and awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think the EAC as a whole can, you know, again, we should discuss just what kinds of things. You know, we've been mostly focused on developing communication centering on climate change, not exclusively, but the other issues. But in terms of Luisa and what we think we should be we should have her talking about and engaging the community. We probably should have a conversation about that in the EAC beyond just the communications committee. But speaking of that, in terms of what the communications committee is doing, so with Jasmine's, I don't know what's the word I want to say, essential assistance. Essential is not the right word, but stuff wouldn't have happened if we hadn't engaged her.
Yes.
We've been producing materials. The latest thing that she has now turned her attention to is the Sustainable Six, pulling out those different the different ones. Most have been written. One is still being developed. She's looking at one of those. harmonizing the 6, kind of putting them in a form that is consistent, distilling them into something that can be a flyer, getting that ready for the website. So we're still focusing on the communications materials that we have. And so that's what she's been working on. You know, there are a number of other things we've been discussing, but I don't know that we need to take any time to go over the rest of, is there anything else that I'm overlooking? The NAACP presentation is now going to happen on May 22nd. There was a snafu or mix-up on the NAACP's end for the April 15th presentation, although Steve did do the executive summary of what he was going to be doing, and that, you know.
Sally, it's it's Monday, May 20th.
Damn it, I don't know why I keep.
It's okay.
The NAACP meeting.
Correct.
It was almost good that it did get postponed, in the sense that you know, we got to sort of introduce what we wanted to accomplish at the meeting, have a brief discussion, and then, you know, maybe we can tailor it a little bit more to, you know, some of the topics that the folks attending were interested in. Although we got to be careful of not going off on too many tangents, sort of stuff that's climate, you know, relatable, if that makes sense. So, but again, it was more or less, they didn't have a projector, so now we know somebody has to bring one.
Yeah, I have to bring the.
No, so you know, but again, it was a good way of kind of introducing it to the greater group versus just 1 or 2 people. And you know, okay, if you guys have anything that they wanted to talk about, they could reach out to myself or anyone else on the committee. So,
you know, I'm going to just add one other thing. So I think it's instructive. At least it was for me. You know, I mean, so the focus of the presentation is the climate action plan. That's what I should say, is that Jasmine took what Bethany created and has refined it, distilled it, changed the look, changed the language. I mean, we've all been working on that, but you know, now it's a tighter presentation and a little more focused. But it's basically talks about the EAC, but it's mostly focused on the climate action plan. But the 3 environmental related things that people brought up at this NAACP meeting were trees, street trees, brownfields, and lead abatement. And so those are issues that are kind of on at least somebody's mind there, in spite of the fact that we've sort of presented things in the reference to the climate action plan or climate change. They've brought up these other issues.
Yeah.
So that's I think it's just instructive in terms of what people in the community, what's on their minds. You know, it's not unique to that group. So I will say,
I did introduce the EPA Superfund team to the NAACP on Saturday.
oh, good, that's great. And yeah, and what Kathy pointed out was the lead abatement efforts related to the community gardens, and I guess residential too, came from the NAACP. So it's not just
yeah, it'll be nice to have Kathy there, because she's essentially an expert on that topic.
right, right.
She'll be able to hopefully you know, explain and zip up that whole thing, because if we get off on that topic, we'll spend the whole time talking about it, and that's something I'm very concerned about. Like, I don't want this to be about lead abatement when we're talking about our climate action plan, you know.
Correct. I'll just make sure that I bring the information about the program, so that way they can share it out. And then we could always schedule something with the lead abatement team too, with them, to do an update.
And it was the chair who brought up street trees, and I thought, oh, you know, she's concerned about street trees coming down because The last conversation I had was a friend of mine who lives in Center Park who's complaining about all the trees that people are taking down. No, her complaint was on the opposite side. It's like these street trees, they're pushing up sidewalks and, that we don't get any help from the city. So I think that, there's already been discussions. We're starting to have that conversation. I can't remember if it's here or in our committee, but I think the issue of street trees is going to be something that we're going to need to be, I want to say we, I mean, Public Works, us, administration, council, be proactive about.
Yeah, on that point, like, I've heard from many people that Why Missing has the best model for that. So I'm wondering if maybe we can incorporate Why Missing's model into the Reading model. What are your thoughts on that, Michelle?
I was trying to
Shelley?
type into the chat. Street trees, once this beekeeping is done in the policy committee, they'll be focusing next on the street tree issue, and they already have a plan of who to review specific policies with, and Why Missing is on their list. So they're
Okay, great,
taking care of that.
great, yeah, thank you.
I mean, and it's a huge issue from a cost factor because the one lady that's there that I know, her parents, she said, had to pay over $3,500 for the sidewalk and the removal of the tree and anything else that was associated with
Yeah,
that.
and
So,
that's the bargain price.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of crazy. As we move forward to the policy committee, I think that'll be really, really great to discuss.
Yeah, and possible financial incentives for
Right.
people to do the work.
Yeah,
I know Why Missing has a program with financial incentives, so.
yeah, my first job out of college was,
Oh, that's right, you're familiar with it.
I was
That's
measuring
right.
all the sidewalks.
You are the resident expert.
Honestly, yeah. So, yeah, I think that'll be great to really discuss. Moving forward to go into the policy committee, and I mean, we'll keep going because David's not here, but is there anything else, Bill, from the communications committee?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think.
Thank you.
We're discussing other stuff, but that's sort of the essence.
Yeah,
well,
you're
I mean, I
ahead.
want to bring up something real quick, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but I know Bethany has the dates for the Wacky Water Wednesdays.
Mhm.
So I think we should start planning. I mean, it is already April. I think that was a positive thing where we tabled last year. Jasmine was there. A couple of us showed up outside of the committee, but it's definitely an opportunity for us to, get this whole thing out to the public again. And it's a great atmosphere. I mean, if you haven't been to one, they shut down the block and they have they have all kinds of things going on, and the kids are absolutely like great, so I think we should start at least talking about maybe going to one. Last year, I think I went to 10th and Green. That was it, right? Or was it? Yeah, 10th and Green.
Nice.
Yeah, I went to one. I agree. Steve, that's good. I mean, always thinking ahead of that stuff. So maybe we'll put that on our agenda for the committee meeting and.
Well, I think that we had what 3 people show up from the EAC for Earth Day, and I know people are busy doing different stuff, but anytime we can get a whole bunch of us there, it just makes it. I just feel like there's strength in numbers, of course. So the more people we can have show up to that sort of stuff is the better. So that's why I'm bringing it up now. So maybe we can. It's a lunch hour type of thing. Nobody has to be there for hours at a time or whatever, but it is a lot of fun and the kids are great. So
Yeah, we reach a lot of people.
Yeah, are those dates like scheduled now or?
Yep.
They are?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to put it in the chat for you.
Okay.
I actually, one other thing before we leave, Bethany is trying to figure out how to retain engagement with Jasmine under maybe a different arrangement, not a continuing, but maybe on a project basis, because she has been just so valuable in so many different ways. So we're hoping that relationship will continue. Her status is changing. She is graduating at the end of
Okay.
May. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep her available on a by project basis.
Sounds good. Yeah, so definitely send those dates for the Water Wednesdays.
It's in the chat. Oh, not quite yet.
I was like,
I forgot to push the arrow. It's sitting in my chat box. Now
maybe,
it's.
okay. Maybe, I don't know if you're able to put this in the email with for Shelley, so everybody can look at this, the EAC members who aren't here. And then on the agenda, we can have a little bullet that talks about this, so we don't forget next time. To discuss who's going, what the vibe is, who is able to attend, and I think that's great, Stephen. I would love to go to one. Or more if possible. So the policy committee, I don't know if we really have any other updates. Thank you, Shelley, for the beekeeping one, and we'll hear more from David next month. The Green Infrastructure Committee, there's no current updates, just what we discussed earlier about the sign.
I just want to go back a step because I'm on the committee. I mean, I'm an ex officio, I guess. I said I would not necessarily attend. But there is a group of people, and we've had some communication. There's a group of people in a meeting about plastic bag ordinance. Is that related to the single-use plastic ban, Bethany, or is that something separate from that?
Yeah, Bill, I think that the policy committee is gonna get to that too, but there's a queue, so do you want that first or trees?
No. I just see it on the list here, and I'm just saying
Yep,
there's
Yeah,
a group of folks not on this committee that have been meeting, I know, for several weeks to talk about this issue. So
Yeah, there is a group. I think it's Citizens Climate Lobby. I talked to them on Saturday. Art
That's
Graham
the
did
one.
email me
okay.
about it, and I said yes. The EAC is looking at it. Other EACs are looking at it. We would like to put something together so it's more holistic throughout the county. So that way the rules are the same.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're in Reading or West Reading, where it's banned, the ban is the same.
Mhm.
And resources are available for our small mom and pop shops. And now that Earth Day is over, I can breathe a little bit. And we'll reach out to Mr. Grimm and Citizens Climate Lobby and see what their model ordinance it looks like and how we can activate them to be supportive. So I will follow up with that for May's meeting.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Shelley, I was just bringing that up. There was not any judgment on what's more important or anything.
no, but just people in the wider community need to realize that things are being looked at, but we can't do everything all at one
All at
time. And
once,
I think
yeah.
that's frustrating for them, but it's a thing we need to explain.
Mm.
No, it's true. I mean,
Yeah. We can walk and chew gum only so fast. Then we trip.
what I said at least once at the NAACP meeting is
Yeah.
yeah,
There's definite interest throughout the wider community to get this done.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Thanks for bringing that
And
up.
solid waste side, we are definitely supportive of it.
Right.
We're tired of pulling, and on the stormwater side, we're definitely supportive of it. We're tired of pulling them out of the drains.
Well, thanks for updating us too, that you've been connected with Bethany and you've been chatting. Steven, do you want to add something before we move on?
No, I was just gonna very briefly. I mean that you're gonna find that on those sticky notes.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Which is good, everybody, it's a general consensus, which is a good thing. So for the Green Infrastructure Committee, our next meeting will be in June. I have it on my calendar, June 3rd at 12 noon. So this is always the first month, it's every other month. So unless that's a big issue, especially with like Bethany, I don't know if you have anything, that will be the next call. And
June 3rd at noon.
yeah,
Okay, I'm just gonna hold the spot. Because whoever gets the spot first wins.
Okay, Shelley, did you want to add anything about that? Okay. I think we'll review what we've been reviewing. The focus mainly right now is the whole signage and mapping situation. So Anne, if there's anything you want to bring, especially to that meeting in June. with
Yeah,
that.
I briefly read the
comments.
comments. I only found one sort of error in the comments. So I need to look at the signs and see the reference to the comments, but it looks good. Your comments look good. And I was reading them during the meeting. And the only one I saw, it said the sewer, directing to the sewer, and it should be storm sewer, but other than that.
Yeah, which we've already made that correction.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
some have a blanket statement of like anywhere it says sewer, it should stay this.
Storm sewer. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing glaring in your comments at all. So I'll look at the signs and see if there's anything glaring there, but yeah, looks pretty good so far.
Awesome. All right, we have about 10 more minutes, but we're making good time. I don't know if there's any other updates with rain gardens. I know Scott, you're listed there. I know you've explained to us things that have been going on, but if you have any other updates.
I do. We actually just did some soil testing on the rain garden at Warren Street. So it's basically the 600 block of Warren Street. We actually started the testing for it. So, well, the soil testing. So we did want to call. They did their dig. They did their soil test, and now I guess it's in the engineer's hands.
Okay.
There's also something else we're trying to set up for another stormwater issue, kind of close to a Summit Chase Drive, that we're also working on. But it's with the same engineer.
The seeding and stuff is being done tomorrow, and
Okay, thanks for that.
Also the seeding and the planning for where we replace the stormwater line at Old Wyomissing Road, that we have an outside contractor working on that tomorrow. That's supposed to start.
Okay, cool.
But that's actually in West Reading, but it's in the city. It's West Reading's property, like where their park is, where the bridge was I guess it washed out, going to West Reading Fire Company. But we're finally getting that wrapped up.
Great, thank you. We have a couple other ones for people who aren't absent or who are absent today. Bethany, do you have any other updates that you want to give to anything listed here? Shelley has one.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead,
I
Liz.
have one as well, but go ahead, Bethany.
We're having a meet, Berks Nature and Public Works is having a meeting with the US Geological Survey, USGS, about the possibility of installing a groundwater monitoring well at Angelica Creek Park. Currently, the only USGS groundwater monitoring well is located in Kutztown, the only one for the Berks County. This will help us keep an eye on drought conditions. So it's very exciting. There's a pinch point in the watershed that happens to be at Angelica Park.
Oh, interesting.
So it makes sense to put it there. It also makes sense to have it in that space because then Angelica, Berks Nature can use it as a teaching tool. And then the city also has a better understanding of what is happening hydrologically, considering how much water we manage.
Great. Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Bethany, I believe there's groundwater testing at Reading Body, but it may be privately owned.
Yeah, but that testing is for contamination, not for, that's a different program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know I've run into those. Well, we deal with them all the time when we're cleaning down there.
Yeah, so there are groundwater monitoring wells, but not part of the geological survey. So those are testing to make sure that there's no contamination getting into the groundwater and then of course into the streams. But so it's a different program.
Thanks. Shelley, what was your update?
On urban ag. I was able to attend their meeting this month. And they did a brief overview of the county's agricultural study that's going on right now. So most of the discussion focused on the fact that the next generation of farmers doesn't very well exist. There's pretty much concern about when the current farmers start aging out, that there's nobody to take over what's happening. No one is interested in that work at this time. So that's something that needs to be addressed. There was also talk about starting what they call a food hub, where rather than wasting, it would be taken to the food hub to be redistributed. Or if a farmer has excess of something that he can't sell on market, that he would sell it to the food hub as a place for smaller businesses, bodega type stores, to buy fresh fruits and vegetables in a smaller quantity, so they don't have to buy so much. And it would be an extra option to the farmer rather than going to the farmer's market to be able to sell off all of the crops. So those were the two big topics this month.
That's a great idea.
I also have an update. The city of Reading is now a member of Berk's Agricultural Resource Network.
Awesome.
What does that mean, Bethany?
Barn. It is the nonprofit that kind of hub that works with a lot of the different farmers, food distributors, USDA. Think of it as Keep Reading Beautiful, but for urban ag. So now it's another partnership between our more rural farmers and the city, and our urban farmers to share resources. Also, some of the grants the city isn't necessarily eligible for, but like the barn as a 501(c) could apply and then have sub-awardees. So it's also a different tool to get some money flowing into some of our projects.
That's awesome.
On both sides. Berks County, we are an urban county, and some of the funding that is available to rural farmers is not available to our farmers. But there is some urban agricultural money available. And what does that look like? So that's something that as a structure and a way to converse between the urban, more rural farmers. To share those resources.
I'm sorry, what constitutes urban county? I mean, when you look at Reading, I mean, Berks County is not urban, not in my mind anyway. So
it's population and population density. And yes, we absolutely are urban, even our rural areas.
Other areas of Pennsylvania for sure.
Well, that is true. There
are counties in Pennsylvania that have less than 20,000 people.
Right.
None of our townships have less than 20,000 people.
Okay. I'm always surprised when I travel more west. I'm like, oh,
this is what
it looks like.
Go up to the New York border and you'll be traveling a long time. It just doesn't feel that way though, I mean,
it doesn't. And that we've done some good things with the way we built out the county, where we still feel like we have space, but we are absolutely an urban county. We're almost at 500,000 people.
You know what it is? I mean, I guess if you spend any time in any city outside of Reading,
right.
If you go to Philly, I mean, that's an urban setting. If you go to DC, those are urban settings. Reading is a little hamlet compared to those places.
That's true. Are there
But
any
it's
other
hard.
on this list? I don't know if there's anything that I'm seeing. Or any other matters that we have that we want to discuss. And then we can move to the long-term projects. I don't know if there's any updates there either. Bethany, I mean, you mentioned like the zero waste plan earlier. A lot of these are kind of talked about and chatted about during the call.
Yeah, so Steve and I have not put together the zero waste plan yet, but we are actively pursuing ways that we can lay that foundation right now. My main goal is to finish the update for the climate action plan and
Okay.
the greenhouse programming plan during the month of May, so that way I can finish out the things that need to be done, so that way they can go to council this summer, because especially with the climate action plan, I do have to go through the formal comment period and all of that fun stuff, even though we've been spending 2 years getting comments on it, but we still have to do the formalities. I do want to give an update. Luke Schultz is the new, although he's worked for the city before, at Public Works. He is part of the capital projects team. He and I are getting the greenhouse ready to go into construction. So we are taking a look at the last several things that need to be plotted out, including replacing the heating system, the walls, the skin of the system. So we are going under construction this summer.
That's awesome. That's really exciting.
It is. We're right. So, but we do have, for those who have been part of the greenhouse work group meetings in the past year or so, thank you. The administration does support what we put down on paper, and I just need to put it formally together to be accepted by council.
Awesome. Thanks, Bethany.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get us back in the greenhouse and using it full time instead of it just being occasionally used. So
that's going to be great. Very cool. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Is there any other long-term project updates from the group? No? Okay. All right, then I guess we can talk about our next meeting, May 28th, noon. Wow, May 28th. Feels so far away. Hopefully it actually doesn't come.
It actually feels close to me. As quickly as my weeks have been going.
It sounds later in the month.
It is late in the month.
Yeah.
It's right after Labor Day
No, it's still the week before.
or Memorial Day. I'm sorry.
So thank you all, and we'll see you Tuesday, and we'll adjourn this meeting. And I really appreciate everybody. I guess my last question real quick, Shelley, in-person meetings don't start until June, right? Oh yeah, it says on Zoom.
Yeah, we were going to start going out in May. Bethany requested a delay because she has a presentation scheduled from someone who is very far away from Reading. So we'll do May virtual, and then June we'll start going outside.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you. And thanks for always noting that. It says via Zoom. So appreciate you. I just had to read. All right. Thanks everybody for a great meeting today.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Great running of a meeting.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody.
So long.
All right.
Yeah,
bye.
and the presentation for May will be an update on the the National Renewable Energy Laboratories project, right, Shelley? That's what we're doing. I think so.
Yeah, I believe so. You just
Yep.
asked for a placeholder. I don't think you gave me the specifics.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
We'll be doing an update. It won't be completely done. We'll be running it through the end of June, but we'll have a good spot there.
Thanks so much. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
See you later.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.